What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Third and Longhorn Postgame live show. We have a little lighter crew today. It's not every week you have someone getting inducted into the Texas Hall of Honor.
Shout out AO.
Shout out AO. And you have someone calling the game on ESPN.
Yeah.
Shout outs to Fozzy. So we got a little lighter crew, but I'm joined by Jeremy Hills today, but we're about to hold it down and recap this 51-3 victory for Texas over Louisiana Monroe.
Truly, a great philosopher once said, "We might look light, but we heavy though." Okay, and the two of us got it today. You with us today, and who else is with us today is this Texas defense shutting things down, 51-3. This was a beatdown from the beginning to the end. I mean, we got a complete team.
Yeah, I think Coming out of this game, I wanted to see another strong defensive performance. I wanted to see a clean game, and I wanted to see a solid day from Arch. And I think we got a good day from Arch.
You got two out of the three.
Yeah, we got a good learning day for Arch. But I mean, at the end of the day, if we can sit around and pick apart a 51-3 win, we're in a good spot.
I agree. And listen, it's different when there's no pressure on you. You know, 3 is the guy that's leading the team. He's doing his thing, and then you come in and you just play free versus you're preparing as a starter. It's on your mind. You're leading the team that week, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I think we've seen that a little bit. He forced a couple of balls that he wouldn't normally do, and he missed on a couple of others that he wouldn't normally do. I mean, and we still ended up with 258 yards passing and a couple touchdowns. So I'm not upset if that's what a bad day looks like.
Yeah, I would say his if that's his bad day, then that's one of the better days. And
right.
Look, Arch is technically a freshman, right? He's a redshirt freshman. This is the first, and like you just said, this is the first time he's ever had true game experience where there was probably pressure. I mean, he did come in the last game in an important moment, but we already had the lead. This was his game. The game was on his shoulders, and he had a whole week to prepare, et cetera. So I mean, as far as this season goes, I think this is a big moment for us because him getting this experience is going to pay off in the long run for this team.
No doubt about it. In football, period, especially in college, you always talk about the two deep, right? And we usually talk about that at every other position other than the quarterback. I will go out and say, especially after watching that Michigan USC game today, I love our quarterback room versus anybody in the country. You think OU wouldn't love to have Arch right now?
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot of teams that would take what we got tonight.
I think there's a lot of teams that are going to want Trey too. Like, I mean, we're like you can
no
go
Tracy's. That's what my daughter says. No Tracy's.
I mean, I think especially after watching that Michigan game, you see how lucky we are, right? Like the fact that we're able to move up in the polls after last week, et cetera, and to lose your starting quarterback and everyone say, oh, this team's got it.
Yeah, the voters looked at us lose our starter and then moved us up in the polls.
Yeah.
Last time we seen a starting quarterback with real significance go out, we seen Florida State miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that lets you know what they think about this Texas Longhorns team.
Yeah. Well, let's as we get started here, let's go ahead and talk about. I want to kick it off with the offense. Arch was 15 of 29, 258 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Look, I think he showed he can definitely throw the deep ball.
Oh, yeah.
I think
he loves the deep ball too.
He does love the deep ball. But I also think what I really liked is that we focused and established the run today, and to have Jaden Blue 25 carries, 124 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 catch for 3 yards and a touchdown, 4 touchdown day. And that's a guy who's, recovering from an injury.
Listen, the best athletes on the field, I didn't make this up. Like I don't write the rules, okay? 23 took the game over tonight. He got the tough yards. He had the breakout runs. He at the end of the day, you got to be able to put the ball in the end zone, and he did that when his number was called in a multitude of different ways, and he did it over and over and over again, right? So I think we have just a solid team. We know what that wide receiver room looks like. They are dangerous. Isaiah Bond, the rest of those guys, they are very dangerous. Ryan Wingo's starting to come on too. It's almost like a spoil of riches out there. But now when I seen the running backs get involved and I seen 23 start getting loose, I'm like, oh, we can't just beat you one way. That makes us dangerous.
Yeah.
Especially with our defense flying around at the way that they are. Oh, we're playoff ready.
Well, and I think we saw how dangerous Jaden Blue can be getting behind the defense on passes. Arch on those two, Arch did have a little bit of an overthrow on both of them, but you saw how wide open Jaden Blue got. And I mean, that guy, you've basically got a de facto another wide receiver out there on offense. And, I think, and I'll say it, I think Sark kind of dialed back the play calling a little bit. I think we were light in the running back room, and so it kind of limits what you can do. And so, but I also think it was a good chance to give Arch some experience, get a chance to go through his progressions, and figure out what it's like with all that pressure on him. So I think overall, pretty successful day for the offense. The receivers, nobody had a gaudy game, but Isaiah had 2 catches for 75 yards. Matthew Golden had 1 for 46. Ryan Wingo had 2 for 42. Silas had 3 for 37.
And Silas almost had a big one he took away from
He
him.
did.
Right.
I'm going to say it. He did have that. You call that a catch on the field,
right?
And then you overturn it off that. I'd completely disagree.
But that's kind of what, when this season first started, and we talked about that wide receiver room, I told you then, I think that this is one of those things where it can be anybody's game any night, and the ball's going to be spread out, and you just make the most of your moment. You're probably not going to have a 10, 12 reception game. That probably doesn't exist. But what do you do with 6? What do you do with 4? What do you do with 5? And we have a plethora of weapons, and those guys contributed tonight.
Yeah, I think overall very successful. I think the part of the game that I'm most excited to talk about, though, is this defense.
That's ridiculous. No, it's actually ridiculous.
We went into the season knowing what we had on offense, right? I think everyone predicted this team was going to be pretty unstoppable on offense, and I think we've shown that so far. Yeah. It is. To stop this team is tough. We saw a Michigan team that a lot of people wrote off after we beat them come back and beat this USC team that a lot of people were thinking was pretty darn good. So It shows you that this team can move the ball, because that Michigan defense is solid.
They're super solid.
Man, they had some. They got to the quarterback quite a few times today.
And another pick 6 by Will Johnson.
Yep.
That group can play some good football.
Yeah.
But our defense front to back, and I don't know the last time I've been able to say this, but front to back is solid. It was so crazy watching, Sweat and Murphy and those guys last year kind of shut down the run game. And then it made you a little bit nervous, because you're like, they're going to realize they can't run and just put the ball in there.
Yep.
But now it's like, hey, you can't run the ball. We gave up like 70 yards rushing today.
I think so,
So you can't run the football. And now we dare you to put it in the air, because we got actual lockdown players out there.
Yeah.
Malik Muhammad is playing on another level right now.
Has anybody caught a pass on him?
I'm not sure.
I'm asking that honestly. I need to go back and watch.
Malik Muhammad's playing on. Yeah, Jardé Barron is playing on another level. You got what's the young kid that transferred from Clemson? I'm dropping his name.
Makuba,
right now.
Andrew Makuba.
Yeah, Andrew Makuba. And this kid, I call him the eraser.
Yeah.
Because whenever there's a mistake on the back end, which there will be, all of a sudden he's there and it's all good.
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, this group can play. They can play, and they are flying around. I seen Ant Hill almost getting the end zone tonight. That would have been clutch, right? So It's like just seeing these guys fly around, get to the ball, make plays on the ball, and then dominate for 4 quarters. It's hard to play with that level of intensity throughout the entire game.
Yeah.
And they have done that every game this year.
Yeah. And I don't think ULM doesn't get enough credit for Ahmad Hardy. That running back is solid. He can go. And I mean, this team came out. That was what they wanted to do. Ahmad Hardy ended up with 10 carries for 30 yards. That guy already was. I think he was averaging 5 or 6 yards a carry. And so they ended
with on the day
26 carries for 59 yards.
2 yards a carry.
That taking them out of what they want to do on the passing, they were 11 to 24 for 72 yards, 3 yards per attempt.
See, yeah, that is like actual domination.
Yeah,
like we talked about, belt to booty. That's what it was. It was 4 quarters of belt to booty, is what it was, man. One of his best plays of the night was the completion to himself. Like what? Like
that would be a booty to booty.
That's booty to booty, man. It's a lot of booty out there. Like this team knew what they knew what they signed up for, and we gave them what they came here for, which was a spanking.
Yeah.
Right. But you expect that from the number 1 team in the country.
Yep.
And that's what we look like tonight. We look like the number one team in the country.
I agree. And props to Leonga Lafau, had a huge game. 6 total tackles, 3 solo, 1 sack, and 1 tackle for a loss.
And the safety.
Which was the safety.
The safety. And oh, man, we call that, I kissed him. I'm talking about face mask to face mask, wrap up, run your feet. I mean, you can feel the collision. And the kid, he stopped his feet. It's over.
Oh, yeah. That was a done deal. And 2 picks. You talked about Anthony Hill's pick and then Javion Cole's pick at the end.
Yeah, at the end. Which they deserve that. Why you out here throwing flea flickers at the end of the game, ULM? What you doing? What are you doing? Let's go home.
I mean, I get it. You got to try to make something of the day. So, and I will say on our pregame predictions, the 2 people who were the closest are right here, right now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What did I have? I had
you had 52-0.
Yeah.
And I had 52-3.
So you what.
We got pretty darn close with 51-3. Special teams recap. I mean, nothing to write home about. My man Bert still didn't get a field goal this game. 7-7 on extra points. So Michael Kern looked good on his punts. I like what we're seeing from him. He had 2 punts for 91 yards, averaged 49, and he had both of them inside the 20.
2 punts.
I know.
No field goals.
Yeah.
Like, think about that.
That means you're putting the ball in the end zone.
2 punts, no field goals. What, 7 touchdowns?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Even the defense is putting up points. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this looks good. This looks good, and I'm excited about it going into conference play.
Yeah, me too. I think so. For everybody out there, we're recapping Texas' 51-3 victory over Louisiana Monroe. For those of you out there, please send in your questions, and we'll try to get through those. And as we mentioned earlier, we're light on staff tonight because we had some guys getting inducted into the Hall of Honor, calling the game on ESPN, et cetera. But thanks for staying up with us on this is our late night broadcast, definitely our latest broadcast we had.
Yeah, so. It is. You know, what's crazy? I was thinking, I heard one of the stats, and they said that this was the first time Texas played a game as number 1 team in the country since the 2008 game against Texas Tech, the old Michael Crabtree game.
Oh man, I did hear that too.
Like, you know, that one broke my heart personally.
Yeah,
right?
I heard Lowell bring it up, and Fozzy got a little silent when he brought it up.
Yeah. Me and Fozzy were there together. We didn't like that. No, Fozzy was on like his second run of being a senior at that point in time, and I think I was in my freshman year. But no, like,
he's not here to defend himself.
But this is way past Fozzy bedtime. This is how you show up as the number 1 team. Like, you leave no doubt at all. You leave no doubt at all, and they did exactly that. And one thing I want to point out that I loved seeing tonight is just the unselfish nature of not only the players on the field, but our leaders that weren't playing. Did you see Quinn?
Yeah, firing them up. I liked it.
And that was like authentic passion.
Yeah.
That wasn't for the cameras. That's a different kid than what we got 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is his team.
Yeah, and I love that, man. I love that for him to still you watched his interactions with Arch. You've watched Quinn grow into this leadership role, and it seems like they feed off each other well. And I think they're both really good for each other. And so I was excited that we had this opportunity to give Arch a true start sometime in this season.
Right.
Because, man, this is a 12-team playoff this year. If we're going to get to where we need to go, that like things can happen. And I think we're discovering a lot about our depth, which I think is really going to come in handy. And this is the right time of the year for injuries, et cetera.
Yeah,
because
shake it out.
Yeah, we got next up, and we'll talk about that in a second, the Mississippi State game to open up the SEC, and there's no cakewalks in the SEC, man. We saw it with Vanderbilt today.
Yeah,
like almost taking
Vanderbilt
Missouri down at
football.
Missouri. Yeah,
listen, Vanderbilt.
We got to go there this year.
I want to go ahead and apologize to these guys right now. Earlier this year, I said, I only thought you guys played baseball. I was wrong.
Yeah,
these guys are playing some decent football.
They put up a solid fight. So it doesn't matter who you're playing, where you're playing in the SEC. It's going to be a tough game, and I think that's what we wanted, right? We wanted to sign up for that. We didn't want that excuse out there of, oh yeah, but you guys were in the Big 12.
Yeah,
you didn't play anybody.
We're going to be battle tested for sure.
I don't think there's any doubt about that.
We're going to be battle tested. I'm almost thinking. So then, let me pose a question for you. You got Quinn, right? He has an abdominal strain. I don't know what grade is it,
yeah.
But he has an abdominal strain. You have Mississippi State, who you're probably going to be a heavy favorite for.
I know your question already.
Right? You
Yep.
got a bye week, and then you got the Red River rivalry. Who plays quarterback next week?
Man, if you had to put me on the spot, I would say Arch Manning starts next week, and you have Quinn suited up in an emergency role, and depending on what happens. But I mean, I think this team's going to be up for that game. I think this game was a complex game because you go into a game as a 45.5 point favorite,
right?
And it's a different mentality, right? And I think you know everybody's going to play in that game. Whereas Mississippi State, you don't know what's going to happen. And granted, they haven't had the best year, but that team can still play, and they've got studs on that team, and their offense can move the ball.
But like we talked about last week, I'm not too concerned about Texas looking too far ahead because it's just the way it's shaped out. There's always something to hang your hat on.
Yeah.
This week this is our first game defending that number one kind of title. Next week it's our first ever game in conference play as a member of the SEC.
Yeah.
So it's time to put the SEC on notice, right? Then you get a bye week only for your biggest rival.
Yeah.
So it's like the way that this thing and after that, come on Georgia.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be the big showdown.
Well, let me pose it back to you then. What do you do? What would you do at quarterback there?
Selfishly, because I think Quinn has a real shot at the Heisman this year.
Yeah,
I want to see him play.
Yeah, me too. And I feel like if this was a different part of the year, I have a feeling he could have been back this week.
Absolutely.
But there's no reason to put him in.
And there's no reason at all, right? I think what you said feels right, but honestly, I would leave that up to Quinn.
Yeah.
I think Quinn will make the right decision.
Yeah.
So if I'm coach, I'm coming to him and I'm saying, hey, what's your pain at on a scale of 1 to 10? Are we talking about a 2, 3, or are we talking about like a 7, 8, 6, 7?
Yeah.
And then I'll let that be the determining factor, because if it's a 2, 3, kid, I don't know how many opportunities you get at really making a run at that Heisman while leading us, on our way to this big team goal.
Yeah. And I think it should show a lot of the fans out there. I think Arch has such a good command of this offense for someone who has barely played, right? Like he goes through his progressions, he does what he needs to do, and he makes plays. Like and today was the first day I think we saw him look semi-human, but I think it should also give an appreciation out there to the fans of how damn well Quinn has been playing. And the way he commands this offense and the stuff he did at Michigan, right? When the lights were on, that kind of stuff. I think we see what we have, right? And I think we already see what we're going to have next year in Arch too, which is, it's exciting. The future's bright.
It's a lot of young talent on this team across the board.
Yeah.
Across the board. And that O-line stays healthy, watch out.
Yeah. They don't get enough credit.
No,
the amount of time those guys have back there to pick apart the defense.
Arch tonight just go through his progressions.
Yeah.
Literally just sitting back there going through his progressions and then deciding where he wants to go with the ball.
And a confidence. Confidence he sits in that pocket with, he knows that his line's there. He knows what they're going to do.
I would expect that from a Manning. I would expect
a good pocket presence.
Like you tell me that the kid has a great pocket presence, I'm like, yeah, I would probably guess that that's the case.
You'll buy that?
Yeah.
Guys, as we mentioned, we're recapping Texas 51-3 victory over Louisiana Monroe. I think we took care of business, did what we needed to. So you guys, if you have questions out there, comments, hit us up. It looks like we got a bunch coming in, and we'll start reading through them. But keep feeding them through if you want. And Mark Higgins and Derrick Joe will start getting them to us. So let's see. Sarah Johnson out there says Arch got needed reps. He looks so much like Quinn did a year ago. The kid will be a star. Can't wait till we get our QB1 back. Amen, Sarah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's the sentiment from just about everybody, right?
Yeah.
It's like we're getting real game experience, real game reps, like live bullets with our number 2.
Yeah.
The future, knowing what we have in our number 1 while he gets an opportunity just to get healthy.
Yep.
Now, I don't want him to sit over there too long, right? I want him to stay in rhythm. I want him to stay out front, and I really want him to make a run at that trophy. But I'm not. Nobody's upset with number 2 right now.
No, and I think my favorite part about Arch's performance today was he threw that pick on the first drive, and then he came back and looked gangbusters on the next like 2 or 3 drives or so. So you can tell these mistakes are going to pay off for him. Like there's no better teacher than a mistake, right? Absolutely. That's the best way to learn. You keep, if he were to come in and keep throwing 4 or 5 touchdown games, he's never going to have that moment of like trials and tribulations.
Right.
And I think this is going to really benefit him. And honestly, he didn't have a bad game. It's not like we're sitting there saying he had a bad game.
We're not.
If that was bad, we're picking.
I think we've gotten so spoiled, right? Like we got a chance to see him come in last week and just go bananas. So like we thought that was just going to be start to finish. Forgetting that the other kids are on scholarship too.
Yeah,
they play football too. So he was a little bit of a human tonight, but he had a really good game.
Yeah,
I mean he'll take that as his first start, I'm sure, and I'm sure there's things that he wants back.
Oh, for sure.
And hopefully, I mean, we'll see. I think he might get a shot at it next week.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just going to be a great learning experience, and it's in good coaching points for Sark from that too. That I think he'll have some stuff to work off of this week.
The cool part was his defense had his back. You know what I mean?
Yep.
After like you talk about a soft landing spot, whenever there was a mistake made, defense stepped right up.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the ultimate team game, and that was on display tonight.
A defense that, mind you, has allowed 2 touchdowns this year.
Insane.
Yep.
That's insane. That was week 4?
Yeah, that's 4 games, 2 touchdowns, and I have to think back on field goals. But it's
that's insane, man. This team is playing. They're flying. They're flying around.
Let's see. Here's from Dadgum Batman. Didn't Quinn come back for the OU game 2 years ago and we blew them out 49-0? Yeah, that's a good memory.
Yeah, it is. and I don't know if you guys watched OU tonight. Tennessee took it to them, and you got some things to figure out. But I always say, throw the records out the window.
Oh, when that game happens, it does not matter.
When that game shows up, it's just me, it's you, we're in Dallas, let's get it on.
I know all the Texas fans are getting overly confident for OU and A&M already, and trust me, just throw it out.
Yeah. Exactly.
Those are going to be great games.
Exactly.
Also from Sarah Johnson, it was also important for the fan base to see Arch as human. With all the Arch mania, it's important for Longhorn Nation to be all on the same page with Sark and with Quinn leading this team. I think we agree. I think that's look, this is a team game though, and developing that depth is huge. So I think overall great night. And then from our man Chris Bennett, CB's out there. Before tonight, the last time Texas had played a game as the number 1 team was Texas Tech in 2008.
Leave it to Chris Bennett, man.
Skip that one.
Facts.
I know. Chris, bring us some good facts, please. We need those. From Jeff Moe, these guys are playing for each other in a way I haven't seen in many years. I agree with that.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And when you think about majority of the interviews that we've done over the past couple of months, what kept coming up, no matter who we talked to, was the culture.
Yeah.
The culture, the leaders. It's the players. They get it.
Yeah.
They're grown. I think we've seen that transition from just like young kids to like young men.
Yeah.
And now they have ownership of this team. They have accountability with each other, and they are just flying around and balling.
Man, my favorite thing about this team is watching them celebrate when something good happens. Yeah. It feels, if you looked at each guy, you can't tell who made the play because they're all just they're all so excited. They're all like when Javion Cole had that pick, to watch like Jade and everybody on the sideline celebrating with them. It was cool to see, man. And you can just tell there is this tight-knit team, and that's why the defense is so strong and the offense is so strong, is that they love each other. And it almost sounds like hyperbole because we say it so much, but we sat there and interviewed all these kids all summer, and it's the real deal.
It's the real deal.
And all the stuff they were preaching about actually was true. And when you met them and you talked to them about who do you hang out with, who are your friends and whatever, and there's these long lists of this tight-knit team, and I think that it shows out on the field.
Agreed. It's a long season, man.
Yep.
It's a long season with plenty of ups and downs, and it is tough to do it with people that you don't get along with.
Yeah.
These guys, you can just tell they got a genuine love and respect for each other.
Yeah.
And then the talent is already off if you didn't have the talent, you wouldn't be at Texas.
Yeah.
So we know you're talented, but just seeing them play at this level consistently, that's more than talent.
Yeah.
That's accountability.
Yeah.
That's literally a standard that we're trying to set. And one thing that we've been, and I say in all honesty, it's probably been true of the last couple of years, is we play to the level of our competition.
Yeah.
Has been one of the biggest downfalls of Texas. Whoever we play that week, that's who we look like that week. That's not the case right now.
No.
We're playing every week. Texas is showing up and looking like Texas.
Yeah.
You know what you're gonna get. physical on both sides of the ball, flying around on both sides of the ball. They really
crazy athletes,
crazy, like long, rangy, fast guys. Like,
I mean, it's got to be so disheartening to walk on that field as ULM and just, after the first couple plays, be like, uh-oh.
Yeah, because I mean, the truth is like Texas has been known for being tough, but not the biggest guys.
Yeah.
Like I remember you would see like a Texas team line up against a team from the Big Ten or a team from the SEC, and you could see a noticeable difference. Now, these guys look like the Monstars.
Yeah, we look like we
fit.
We for sure fit in.
They are walking out there, and they are the bigger, faster, stronger athlete.
Yep.
And they are dominating like it.
I will say my one critique of the defense, and I hope they're listening to this or get to hear this, was, can you guys chill out when you celebrate a little bit? Because I thought Leonga was going to get injured on that celebration.
In the end zone.
Like all the big guys, everybody's jumping on him, pushing him. I'm like, goodness, man, take care of our peeps.
Yeah, I've seen that too. But that's how I know.
But it's awesome, man.
That's how I know we getting old, because I thought the exact same thing.
My knees blew out just watching it.
Just after the third jump and chest bump, I'm like, all right, you got to land carefully, land on 2 feet.
I legit was thinking about the landing the whole time. I'm like, okay, landed. All right, from Logan Cogdill. With Mississippi State starting quarterback down, we thinking it's smart to play Arch regardless of Quinn's health to give maximum healing time. Well, I mean, we'll see. I think it'll be less based on who Mississippi State's playing and more based on how Quinn's feeling.
That's what I was about. Like something like that is, especially Quinn's in a rhythm.
Yeah,
he's playing really good. I don't want to keep him on the sideline if he's healthy.
I totally agree.
I even heard some people suggesting that maybe Blue shouldn't play tonight, and I'm like, well, we don't know how healthy he is.
Yeah,
if he's healthy, he shouldn't be a healthy scratch.
He looked okay tonight.
Yeah, he looked good. He looked like that ankle looked good.
I was kidding. He looked fantastic. Hit 4 touchdowns.
So, like, why would I keep that on the sideline?
Yeah, I agree.
In an effort like that, I'm terrified of getting hurt. Listen, if you're playing football and you're scared of getting hurt, don't play football.
Yeah.
But if you got a guy that's banged up and he needs some time to rest, heal, and recover, that's one thing. But if you got a healthy scratch for QB1, doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I think that's fair. From Matthew Perez, ULM didn't have that booty on the porch by the time the lights come on, so the belt came out.
Sir, you are 100% correct. That guy gets it.
Belt to booty.
Belt to booty. I told you. When we were doing the pregame show, I said, this is going to be one of them times where Texas told them, hey, I want y'all in the house before the lights come on. I've been telling you that all week. You keep showing up after the lights come on. They did not listen. And it was belt to booty for 60 minutes, okay? That kid is sore. He is tired.
Oh, man.
He was getting smacked.
It was nice to see us getting some sacks and getting in there.
The announcer, they zoomed in on him on the sideline once when he had his helmet off, and the look of relief that he wasn't in the game anymore. He was so happy that it was somebody else's turn to get banged around.
Time to focus on conference play.
There we go. There we go.
From another one from Logan Cogdill. I know Gunner killed it tonight, especially blocking, but I'm hoping he gets more touches in SEC play. Yeah, look, I think, like we said, Sark wasn't digging deep in the playbook tonight, and also, I mean, I'm sure it put a little fear of God in us after Gunner got horse collared on that one. I know I got a little worried on that.
The way that kid popped back up,
yeah,
I was like, oh, he has Gumby knees.
And that block he threw for Niblet to get that first down on third down was, I mean, he's a special player, and props to Juan Davis too. Juan had some nice plays. I think he's showing a lot. I'm excited. I want to see Amari Niblack. Like I want to see what he can do, because I remember what he could do at Alabama.
Yeah. I know we haven't gotten a chance to see much of him, but
maybe we're saving him.
The thing I was about to say, the thing about Sark is like you will get in the playoffs, and then it's a whole game plan just featuring him that you couldn't prepare for. But no, we didn't get deep at all. We kept it so basic today when you were thinking about like conceptually the stuff we were doing in the past game, and then just kind of how we were just basically running downhill and running counter.
Yeah.
Like, this is we're keeping it very, very, very.
That first drive of the second half was all runs. Yeah. That was it. I think Sark was just like, we're just gonna pound it.
Yeah.
We're gonna stop throwing the ball around. It's just time to get down to business. And they went straight down the field.
I love that. And I love that we can do that.
Yeah.
I love that we can do that, because that's a mentality.
Yep.
Running the football when they know you're going to run the football is a mentality. That is how you break a defense.
Yeah. Our man Sean Cawthon out there, the Longhorns have allowed just 22 points this season, the fewest through 4 games since 1977.
Oh, that was Fozzy's freshman year. I remember that. I remember him showing us that tape. I forgot what they called themselves. Was it the Burnt Orange Brigade or something like that? I forget what it was. But this defense is playing like lights out. They are playing unlike anything that I've seen from a Texas defense, which makes sense. 1977. I wasn't here yet. But it makes sense. They are flying. I keep saying the same thing. Long, rangy, athletic. They got an attitude. They're smart. They know what they're doing. Like you're seeing guys play smart, aggressive football. That's normally what you see is either smart or aggressive.
Yeah.
It's either Duke or Miami. It's not this combination of the two. And right now that's what we're getting from Texas's defense.
Yeah, I agree. Jeff Moe. Congrats to Fozzy. He did a great job tonight. He did, man. I like props to him and to Lowell. Like they did a great job. It felt like home, right? It felt like a Longhorn Network kind of game.
No, it did. No, Fozzy did his thing, man. I was proud of. It's funny.
He's great, man.
I felt myself getting a little nervous for Fozzy as I was listening, trying to see what he was going to say, how he's going. And I'm like, oh, he's killing it.
Oh, he crushed it, man. And they did such a great job. And props to them as a first year crew to get to call the number 1 team in the country. And not only that, to get to call. I think
Foz said it was the first time that has ever happened, right?
And deservedly so. They did a great job. They crushed it. It was nice to have them on the call because they knew all the background and all our guys. And I was laughing because there was a time where they started giving a little background on one of the ULM guys. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. They had to go interview them too.
Yeah.
But no, that's awesome. Well, I think that's all we've got on the comments. And that's all I got for tonight. Do you have anything before we get out of here?
I want to see us continue to handle success. Like we're not a hidden gem anymore. The world is on notice. Like there won't be. I'm even starting to notice more Texas commercials on ESPN and mainstream television.
Yep.
Right. Like there's no more hiding what we have. The world knows about it, and I guarantee everybody's preparing for it. Right.
Yeah.
So now I want to see us go give people what they're expecting to get when they play Texas, and that starts next week.
Yeah. No, I like it. Well, we appreciate y'all tuning in. Hey, if you like what you hear and see, please like, subscribe, follow us wherever you experience it. We will have our Mississippi State preview coming up midweek this week, so please tune in for that. And hook 'em.
Hook 'em.